Friday afternoon. Will Rory McIlroy run away and hide as the 90th playing of the Masters Tournament at Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia is taking place? Rory's 7 under par. He's got a 2-stroke lead as of now. Remember, last year we saw Rory McIlroy win the career Grand Slam via a playoff victory over Justin Rose. Justin Rose is 5 under par, and he's in the clubhouse. Good chance that we'll see Justin Rose in the final group tomorrow, as afternoon conditions yesterday proved to be more problematic than the morning conditions. So the guys in the clubhouse as of now are sitting pretty, and that would be Justin Rose at 5 under par. Terrell Hatton hit every green in regulation today and had a 66 en route to a 4 under overall finish after going 6 under today. He's 4 under par. Wyndham Clark, former U.S. Open champ, in the clubhouse at 4 under par. Brooks Koepka had a good day. He's tied for 11th. There's a lot of major championship experience in the top 10 or 11. Xander Schauffele is also 4 under. But Xander's on the course right now. He's through 10, as is Tommy Fleetwood. Jason Day having a nice round so far. He's 4 under par. So we'll keep you up to date on the Masters leaderboard as the players in the afternoon continue to traverse their way through this course. It is a big night tonight at the Delta Center. The eyes of the basketball world tonight are on the Delta Center. It is the Super Bowl of tanking. It's actually rather fascinating. As you guys know, if you listen to the show, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I am not a fan of what the NBA has devolved into, with a third of their teams being unserious about competing for 2.5 months. But what we have tonight between the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies is actually rather compelling theater. We'll get to that to start the show. Going to do some Mammoth on the program today. We're going to have playoff hockey in our market. We are going to have Stanley Cup playoff hockey in Salt Lake City, Utah, a sentence that I don't think I ever thought I'd be able to say. And certainly just after a couple of years here on the ground, the fact that the Mammoth clinched a playoff spot last night officially is just a really cool thing and a testament to what that organization has been able to do in just a couple of years here in Salt Lake. The Mammoth have ripped off 5 straight wins. They're 6-2 in their last 8. They're 8-3 in their last 11. They're playing excellent, excellent hockey right now, and we're going to have playoff hockey in our market. So we'll get to the latest there. It is a break for RSL, break for Real Salt Lake. They're going to be back in action next weekend against San Diego. Did a little talk on RSL last night on KUTV, KMYU, with our good friend Jason Christ, the president of soccer for both the Royals and Real Salt Lake. The Royals aren't back until the 26th, so we get a little bit of a soccer break window. Of course, the World Cup right around the corner. NFL draft just a handful of days away. We're getting closer to the NFL draft. Spring football up on the hill for the Utes. Basketball transfer portal is open, which is causing chaos. So we'll get to all of these storylines today on a busy, busy Friday afternoon. Howard Beck, first guest right out of the gates from the Ringer, talk some NBA. Our college football insider, savant, and expert is Chris Kamrani. He joins us during the 3 o'clock hour. Nick Olachek, our buddy from the Mammoth, will join us to talk some pro hockey. And then we'll talk some Masters and some golf with our buddy Paul Pugmire from Utah Golf Radio. Howard Beck, Chris Kamrani, Nick Olachek, Paul Pugmire, me, Spence Checketts. All of you, the great listeners. And on a Friday afternoon, that young man, Porter Larson.
Yo.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
How's your day been today?
It's well.
Yeah.
Gone well.
Yeah.
I'm a big Masters guy.
Okay.
So, watching a really good leaderboard up atop there is kind of kept me occupied, entertained all Friday morning, and we'll do the same throughout the weekend. So, yeah, it's been some good golf.
Are you a 4-round Masters guy? Like, will you watch all 4 days? Or
yeah, I've been tuned in.
Okay, nice.
Not always necessarily, and it kind of depends on how the week is going. If the leaderboard's shaping up to be interesting at the end, I'll watch all the way throughout. Unless it's like a historic performance or something, if someone's leading by 5 strokes, I may not be quite as tuned in at the end.
Yeah, that's the downside. And look, McIlroy's only 2 shots clear of the second place golfer Dustin Rose right now. But the downside of a dominant performance oftentimes is what's the point of watching?
Right.
Unless you want to see history.
Like when Tiger won by 50 strokes or whatever. It wasn't that many. But that was a performance where he broke course records and whatnot. That's a different thing than like poor course conditions and someone's just handling it better than everyone else and is running away with it. So there's levels there.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see if Rory continues to play good golf to pull away from the group. But ultimately, right now, just a 2-shot lead for Rory McIlroy. Our first guest today, Howard Beck from The Ringer, one of our favorites to talk NBA with. But before Howard stops by, courtesy of our good friends and your good friends too at IFA Country Stores, it's time now for that opening tip. Any drive to the basket begins with the first step. On the court, that's the ultimate power move. IFA Step 1 Crabgrass Preventer and Lawn Food is the first choice to give your yard the healthy, thick, green look you admire. The neighbors will be green with envy. Shop IFA online at IFA.coop or stop by one of their neighborhood stores today. Are you ready? Are you ready for a little Jamal Mashak Bez and Bang tonight in Salt Lake? Do you have any idea what that sentence means? Here is what is happening tonight at the Delta Center. Okay, the NBA obviously has a massive issue, as we've discussed on this show, when it became pretty apparent that at least 9, maybe 10 teams, I leave the Pelicans out of it because the Pelicans don't even control their draft pick this year. So we'll land on 9 teams in pro basketball not caring whether or not they win or lose the game. In fact, let me take it a step further, caring very much that they lose a competitive endeavor. That's what they're trying to do. Well, tonight, Memphis is in town. Let me unpack what tonight means. Let's start here. I honestly don't know who is going to play for either team. Memphis is sitting 12 players. 90% of the Memphis Grizzlies payroll will not be playing basketball tonight. On the Utah Jazz side of things, they are sitting 8 players. A combined 20 players who are being paid millions of dollars to play a children's game will not be showing up for work tonight. If the Memphis Grizzlies win this game, their chance at a top 4 pick is dinged by 7%. If the Utah Jazz win this game, their chance of a top 4 pick is dinged by 10%. I honestly think I could text Will Hardy right now, and he'd play me 15 minutes tonight. This is going to be fascinating, okay? If you go off of the last game for the Grizzlies, okay, they lost to the Nuggets. Jokic did whatever he wanted to do. 16 boards, 10 assists, 14 points, just an easy triple-double, 12 offensive rebounds. There was nobody there to provide any pushback. So if we try to understand how this is going to go, the Utah Jazz have lost 10 straight games. The Grizzlies are 1-9 in their last 10. Last game, former Jazzman Taylor Hendricks played 22 minutes. Toby Akani played 33 minutes. Cedric Coward played 22 minutes. Jamal Mashak played 33 minutes. Walter Clayton Jr., of course, former Jazzman, part of the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, played 22 minutes. Derek Whitehead played 38 minutes. Lucas Williamson played 37 minutes. Adama Ball played 39. Do you know who any of these people are? Do any of those names ring a bell to you? If we go off the last game for the Utah Jazz, where they let the Pelicans hang 156, the Pelicans, who have won 26 games, scored 156 points against the Jazz. Oscar Tshiebwe, cool 21 minutes. Bezim Bang played 48 minutes. John Conchar played 38 minutes, and Kennedy Chandler played 43 minutes. Blake Hinson got a cool 11 off the bench. When you're sitting Kyle Filipowski because you're afraid of winning, we have absolutely jumped the shark. When you refuse to play Isaiah Collier or Elijah Harkless or Svi Mikhailuk because they're too good for the endeavor, things are just absolutely out of control. So ultimately, this is the final home game for the Jazz. They're going to play one more game coming up on Sunday against Los Angeles. And they just have to do everything they possibly can to lose the final two games if they want to stay in that bottom four area. Now, even if they fall to 5, the chances of their pick falling past 8 on lottery night, very minute. They're going to hold on to the asset. But they ultimately need to lose this game tonight so badly because if they win, it will dock their chance of getting a top 4 pick by 10%. Zero clue who these coaches are going to play. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of Bez and Bang isolations. Probably going to see Toby Akani, full rain, free reign, green light for Lucas Williamson on the Grizzlies side of things. Tonight is going to be unintentionally hilarious. And it is a problem that pro basketball has to address, and they have to address it now. Now, part of it is how historic this draft class is thought to be. Thought to be. And all the data indicates it has a chance of being very special with these top 4 kids at the top that most people talk about. I have seen plenty of draft classes with a ton of hype around them. And you look back and you're like, yeah, I thought Hasheem Thabeet would be awesome. I thought Stromile Swift had a chance to be great. It's just really, really difficult and a very slippery slope when so many incredible prospects in the past have just not panned out. And simply, one of the things I really appreciate, like, for instance, I was watching the Masters this morning when Justin Rose finished his round. And Justin Rose is thought to be among the best gentlemen in all of professional golf. When he finished his round, he gave his putter to his caddy and walked directly to the gallery and started signing autographs. Now, I've never been one to, let's overtly celebrate an athlete for signing an autograph because, honestly, that's the least you can do. One of my favorite athletes of all time refused to sign autographs because he believed they were going to be sold. But who cares? If a fan who pays money to attend your game or buys your jersey or even tunes in on television to make sure the ratings are healthy wants you to sign a piece of paper, take 30 seconds out of your day and freaking sign it. So I'm not sitting here, painting Justin Rose as some hero, but what I am sitting here talking about is the callousness and almost dismissive nature that the National Basketball Association seems to have for the fans that care about the game. Occasionally, they'll say things out loud that remind you exactly how they think of you. But don't just listen to what people say. Pay attention to what people do. Life lesson. Porter, did you write that down? Don't just listen to what people say. Pay attention to what people do.
That's a good one.
Yeah, write that one down.
We'll put it on the wall or something.
There you go. You know what? Great. Can we start a wall of quotes?
Sure.
It's a great idea. Okay? Whether it's a friend of yours or somebody you're seeing, pay attention to what they do. Don't listen to what they say. Now, in the NBA, it's both what they say and what they do that should indicate to you that they don't give a rip about you. They just don't. It's obvious. Jason Kidd, after the Mavericks were eliminated in the playoffs a couple of years ago, in a moment of frustration, said to a media member, "You guys don't get it. We are millionaires cheering for each other." Jason Kidd said that in a post-game media availability. You guys don't get it. We are millionaires cheering for each other. Cool. Kevin Durant. On multiple occasions, we don't ever think about the fans. Well, it's obvious because you don't care about your regular season product. You don't give a rip about the people that are paying for tickets, food and bev, merch, all the things that you have to do to go to a game. And if you want to take a couple of kids and your wife or your partner, you're out $500-600. At some point, the only thing that will get them to pay attention is some sort of message sent by the fans. And I actually think a lot of fans have sent a message. I know a lot of guys, a lot of people, they, thems, whatever. Whatever we're saying these days, I've lost track. I know a lot of folk who used to love NBA basketball now just don't give a rip. Don't watch it, don't go. Because if you don't care, then we don't care. Howard Beck will join us. He'll be good on this coming up on the other side. Chris Kamerani, Nick Olachek, Paul Pugmire. Busy Friday show. Keep it right here. Chris Comrade is going to join us live in studio today. Some scheduling announcements have come down in the world of college football. The transfer portal is open in the world of college basketball. We'll bring in Nick Olachek to talk some hockey, and then Paul Pugmire to talk some golf. Batting leadoff on a Friday afternoon with a massive game tonight here in Salt Lake City with serious implications. Howard Beck, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm well. So just to set the scene for you, Memphis is in town, and they're sitting 12 players. The Jazz are sitting 8 players. If Memphis wins tonight, it knocks their chances of a top 4 pick down by 7%. If the Jazz win tonight, it knocks their chances of top 4 pick down by 10%. Compelling television to close out the home slate for the Utah Jazz tonight, Howard.
Have they asked you to play point guard yet?
I actually said if I texted Will Hardy, I bet he'd give me 15 minutes tonight. How much money would I get for a one-game check, by the way?
Ooh, that's a good Bobby Marks question. I'm going to guess that's got to be worth at least, like, I don't know, $50K or something. You know, maybe 100. I'd have to check to see what the 10-day contract pays these days, because there's no such thing as a one-day, right? Like, you'd have to sign a 10-day. And I don't know what those pay these days, so I'll check into that for you.
Do you have any connections in the league office that because I could use an extra $50K? I'm not going to lie. I'd go down and embarrass myself for 15 minutes for $50,000.
You know, at this point, considering how completely absurd all the tanking has been for the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Nets, the Wizards, and on, they might as well just, like, make this into a marketing opportunity, right? Like, auction off and have the proceeds go to charity, and you could, like, be the Jazz small forward for 10 minutes. Why not? Like, just have fun with it. They're just giving these games away anyway. Let's do it. Like, you know, the whole NBA should embrace it. Forget the anti-tanking proposals. They're all too complicated, and nobody can solve it anyway. Just lean into it and turn it into a marketing opportunity.
It's actually not a bad idea, and I do not want to spend another 15 minutes talking about tanking with you like we have in the past, so I'll just simply ask this. Just one more thing here, and then we'll just move on to other fun basketball topics. Are we going to have to experience this again? You're never going to eliminate it unless you completely reshuffle the incentive structure. We have a historic draft class, so there's that. But, if this league thinks it's cool for 10 teams to be unserious for 2 months, then I don't know what to say about the message it sends to people that want to attend games and watch basketball.
Adam Silver told us a few weeks back at his press conference that we're going to fix it, and we're going to do it in May. There's a board of governors. They're holding a special meeting in May. They never meet in May. They're going to meet in May, and they're going to approve something. And we've had various drips and drabs leak out via ESPN, and then my colleague Zach Lowe went into detail on his podcast yesterday of a different kind of approach that was more like it was like having poker chips basically to spend on the draft, and you can use them in any number of ways. And so you're bidding on draft spots instead of having it tied to records, so it would be completely disconnected in that way. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff floating around, and there are people I know, really smart people, who are proposing things that are more about, rather than penalizing, it's more about trying to give teams more incentive to try to win. So it's, proposals like you've heard before. We've heard versions of this where you lock the records at a certain point for standings and lottery purposes at some point early in midway through the season, and then instead of counting losses, you start counting wins, that kind of thing. So I'm very curious to see where they ultimately land and how different, how radical, how ambitious they intend to be ultimately. But it's hard. You've got to get, a majority, or I think more than a majority, of the 30 owners to buy into this. And, everybody's looking out for themselves at some point, which is why they can all get in a room a couple times a year and collectively say, you know what, you're right. Tanking's terrible. Bad luck for the league. And yet, at any given time, 10 of those 30 people are in charge of teams that are doing it. So collectively, they might look out for the interests of the league and say that they want to do the right thing. Individually, they act as humans do in self-interest. So I am assuming nothing other than they will pass something in May Whether or not it fixes the problem, or how far it goes to fix the problem, or whether or not any of us will actually understand it, those are open questions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much to add there. I think you unpacked it really well. One of the other debating, topics that people have been debating for quite some time is whether or not 82 games during the regular season is the right call. Do you go down to 75, 72? Do you take it down to 65? Two-part question. What do you think is the best solution here? And do you think we will get some sort of action anytime soon about trimming the regular season?
I just think it's DOA. I mean, it's a really great conversation, not just for podcast hosts and radio hosts and fans and media people. It's a great conversation that people have within the league, too. And there are plenty of people you can find around the league, general managers and coaches, who will tell you, listen, if money were not an issue at all, what is the ideal? Does 82 make sense? No. You'd find a ton of people in basketball circles saying we should cut this thing. Plenty of players, too, because everybody understands the wear and tear and the costs to the player's health. Now we have this annoying 65-game rule for awards because they're trying to motivate everybody to be on the court as much as possible, and yet we still have some of the best players in the league on the bubble or missing it because of actual injuries, because the game is played at such a high pace now, and there's so much ground to cover because of the three-point revolution, and you can't solve for those things. Like, there's just, you're running up against the limits of, the human body and, the toll it takes over the course of 82 games. Should they shorten the season? I would think almost certainly yes in a vacuum. But the money issue is the issue. And I just don't see a world where the owners or the players are going to voluntarily sacrifice however many tens of millions, hundreds of millions. I don't know what the cost would be of going down to 70 or 66, as some people have suggested. I don't know. I do think that if they're ever going to do it, they should discuss it in conjunction with potential expansion, right, which, they're going to decide sometime this year. And if they do decide to expand to 32 teams, that's the moment where you can say, listen, we're decreasing the national TV inventory by reducing the season, but we're adding 2 teams, and so there's just more overall games to sell. Can we make the math work without having to sacrifice too much of the money? Also, not for nothing, and easy for us to say as the ones who are not making the billions, but you'd think that a bunch of billionaire owners and very wealthy players could say, you know what, for the sake of everybody's health and longevity and the good of the game, let's give up X amount, X percentage, and shorten the season. Like, they could do that anytime they want to. All they have to do is, agree to amendment to the CBA. But again, it's not my money or yours, so it's easy for us to say.
Fair enough. Yeah, we're just the broke media members complaining.
Exactly.
Tell me if the salary cap going down means anything notable, because I talk about this all the time, and it's not just the NBA. A business is not incentivized to change a damn thing until their bottom line is compromised. And look, the business of basketball appears to be really good. Of course, the new TV deal that they signed, because they always tell us, all right, you guys can complain all you want, but we just signed a $72 billion media rights deal, and you love the playoffs. And they're not wrong about either of those things. But does the salary cap going down, does that indicate anything that the NBA needs to look at as maybe a little bit of a concerning trend?
I'm going to say probably not, in that in the course of all the years that I've been covering this league, there are years where they hit projections, years where they exceed, and years where they fall short. And it's usually by a little bit. It's a small percentage. There are no other indicators that I'm aware of to suggest that the NBA is having any issue making money or making a profit. When we say it's going down, I don't think it's actually going down. I think it's actually falling short of what the projection was, right?
Correct.
If
yes.
I'm remembering right.
And it's only by like $1 million. I mean, it's
Yeah, and right. It just so we projected X amount more in revenue, and it's going to be more, but not quite as much as we thought. We have this issue right now, and I don't know. Again, I have not looked that deeply into this, but we have this issue with all these regional TV, the regional sports networks going under.
Yep.
And that probably has an impact here. The national TV money is locked in, so that's not the issue. I don't think they're having any attendance issues. That's a market by market thing. So no, I don't think there's any reason for alarm at the salary cap not increasing as much as they thought.
I'm going to give you Boston or the field in the East for to win the conference.
I'd take Boston.
I think I would too.
The field.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jason Tatum's looked super good, and there was a scenario a couple months ago where you would have said, okay, Jason Tatum's going to come back and he'll probably be like 80 or 90% of himself. But hey, Jaylen Brown has played it like an MVP, and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White have been really good, and Neemias Queta has been great. You would say even 80 to 90% of Tatum would be enough. Lately, he's looked pretty darn close to 100%. So I think, not only did the Celtics exceed expectations all season, but Jason Tatum has exceeded expectations in this month or so that he's been back. It's incredible. When they're at full power, and listen, I know Knicks fans are going to say, we beat them last year. We were beating them before Tatum went down in that game at the Garden, and we're equipped to do this. And I think that there's some truth to that. I think the Knicks personnel, especially the defensive wings they've got in Mikal Bridges and Anunoby and Josh Hart, are built to deal with the Celtics and especially the Brown-Tatum combination. But I don't have a ton of faith in the Knicks in general. I think there were a lot of things that happened in that series against the Celtics where the Celtics are blowing 20-point leads and over-reliance on the three. I don't think that'll happen again, most likely. And the Celtics just look incredibly well-balanced right now. And the Knicks are kind of wonky. And the Pistons are young. And the Cavs are the Cavs. And James Harden is James Harden. And it's so, yeah, I think the Celtics are probably the favorites as we speak. But that doesn't mean I will veer from my previous position all season long, which is it's not going to surprise me if the Knicks come out of the East or the Pistons come out of the East or even the Cavs come out of the East. I think all those options are on the table, but probably just those four.
As far as the answer to this might be obvious, but I think we do forget that both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are still relatively young players. If I said you can have we're going to let you buy into our stock early for a payout later, are you buying futures on Detroit or Boston?
How do we define buying futures on? Is it like a window? What's the time?
Just who's set up better for the future? Let's say the next 5 years, because Detroit just has all these young players and Cade is awesome. But again, because Tatum and Brown have been around so long, we forget that they're in their mid to late 20s either. Boston's got a great 5-year runway as well.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still take Boston over Detroit for the next few years. The wild card there being, obviously, aside from the most obvious, which is health, the Pistons are super good without even having a definite second option. And now Jalen Duren's had a great season, but Jalen Duren doesn't necessarily manufacture as much on his own, right? There's still an argument that the Pistons could use one more guy who does something with the ball in his hands at a high level. And they've got the opportunity to still find that guy, right? They've got all this young talent. They can stay the course and just let guys evolve, and maybe Asar Thompson develops an offensive game along the way. Who knows? Maybe Jalen Duren continues to just develop and become that guy. But they're so great defensively. They play so hard, and they've just got phenomenal chemistry. But the Brown-Tatum combo is just, it's hard to bet against when you have two guys who are big, long, and can do everything with the ball in their hands, can manufacture offense out of thin air. That's really hard to beat in this league.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the right answer. Now, out this way, we've discussed, and tonight we're going to see OKC Denver. Denver has won 10 straight games. I'll just phrase it the same way, though. I'll give you OKC or the field out this way.
OKC or the field is interesting. At the beginning of the season, I said the field, and because I was taking the field, I defaulted to Denver as the team that was most likely to come out of the West, given that I didn't think the Thunder would repeat. And that wasn't a bet against the Thunder. It was just a bet it was a bet on recent trends, right? We haven't had anybody repeat in 7 years, and it's really hard to repeat. Winning takes a toll. And we've seen that this season, right? Jalen Williams has missed a ton of the season. And Shea had that long stretch that he was out like 3.5 weeks earlier in the season. Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso, like every significant player on that roster, it seems like has missed time because going to the finals takes a toll. They're really deep, but they're really deep at role player level, not necessarily at star level. We still have to see if J-Dub gets back to the level consistently that he was at when they made their run last year. And so, like, there's just enough uncertainty and wear and tear and attrition that I think I would still say the field, even though, I mean, let's not get crazy. The Thunder should be the favorites.
Yep.
But the other thing that's happened, Spence, is that the Spurs went from lottery team to, like, legit contender. And so now instead of it being like, you know, okay, Denver's the only real threat, no, there's like two serious threats. I think the Nuggets, if things break right, the Nuggets can beat the Thunder in a series, and clearly so can the Spurs. I don't have any faith in anybody else in the West, but I do think it's a three-team race.
All right, now I'm giving you early stock trade options on the Thunder or the Spurs. Who are you taking?
Oh, man, it's tough. I'm very tempted to be a prisoner of the moment and to be caught up in Wemby hype and just say the Spurs. And it's not just because of Wemby. Like, he changes the entire game at both ends. But, like, Stephon Castle's been amazing. De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, that whole guard rotation, put Devin Vassell in there too. Luke Cornett's one of the best backup bigs in the league. I think there's just so many different ways that they can beat you, and they have had the Thunder's number this season. Whether that holds in May the same way that it did in December, especially, who knows? But like the Spurs don't play like a young team. I know they've never won a playoff series. I know the Thunder are the ones with the experience, but I don't know. I think the Spurs are amazing. I'd be tempted to pick them.
Have the Rockets shown you anything? I just pulled up the schedule, and they've won 8 straight. But I'm realizing we're talking Grizzlies, Pelicans, Bucks, Jazz. They did beat the Knicks at home and the Warriors on the road. 8 straight wins this time of year is it's not nothing. I mean, I certainly wouldn't put them on the tier where they can compete with the top 2. But have they shown you anything to make you believe they could make the spring somewhat interesting?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's hard this time of year, and especially this season, where so many teams, Atlanta has had this, the Knicks did at one point, the Lakers, a lot of teams have had these long winning streaks that when you drill down and you start to look at who they played, and it's all the tanking teams, or mostly tanking teams. It's like beat one good team and like 9 teams that have no interest in winning and are playing G Leaguers. And it makes it really hard to assess anything. And in the case of the Rockets, we have much more proof that they are a flawed team that doesn't play well together, that doesn't have a natural playmaker on the court, that just malfunctions at the worst possible times late in games. There's much more evidence of that than there is of being a team that, you know, whatever you're seeing the last couple of weeks when they're beating up on mostly the bad teams. So, yeah, look, I love Kevin Durant. I think he's amazing. He's had an incredible season. He's played at 70-something games too. He's been durable. He's still an All-NBA player. He'll be on my All-NBA ballot somewhere. I just can't buy into the Rockets.
The 76ers are 7th in the league in payroll, and Embiid is on their books through 29, and in 2029 he's going to make $69 million. Paul George has a player option in 2 years. He'll probably pick that up for $56.5. And look, you could be in worse situations because Maxi's awesome, and I love Edgecombe. If they decided, because for our listeners that may not remember or have not heard, Joel Embiid is now out for the season once again. If they decided, okay, we have done the best we can with this Joel Embiid experience, we have to figure something else out. Is there anyone that would answer the phone? I mean, look, you know this. When he is right, there are, I don't even know how many players you would say are ranked ahead of him, but I don't know how long are we going to say when he is right? Like, what's the pathway forward for Philadelphia, and is there a general manager out there that would take on Embiid's money?
I don't think there is. It's funny because sometimes we talk about how, like, in earlier versions of the NBA 10, 20, 30 years ago, there was always like a couple of teams or maybe several teams where they were always easy to induce into taking on your bad contracts because they were desperate or they get caught up in star power or whatever. There's fewer and fewer teams like that these days. We discussed this on the podcast today. On the Real Ones, Logan Murdoch and I bounced around the idea of, like, where do the Sixers go from here? And he made the crack of maybe the Kings will take Paul George. We didn't even talk about the Embiid possibility. It was more like, Sacramento, they'll take anybody. And I think that was true the last few years. Vivek Ranadive, the owner, kept overriding his front office, and that's how they ended up with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Scott Perry's there now, and I think from everything I can gather, they've got this front office is empowered to tear this down and rebuild right. They're looking to offload the LaVines and the DeRozans. They're not, I don't think, looking to add the Paul Georges or a Joel Embiid. So I don't think that would be the case. And then I start thinking, like, is there any other team that's in a position where they're either desperate enough or the owner is foolish enough? I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be hard to find anybody to take, even if you were sending out picks to along with Embiid or George to get somebody to take them. I don't think those contracts are movable. I think the Sixers, this is just where they are. They're stuck with these guys as long as they are on the books, and whether that's a help or a hindrance to the Maxey Edgecombe backcourt is hard to know. But yeah, I mean, let's be clear. It absolutely blows that Embiid has got appendicitis and had to go undergo surgery, and probably we won't see him again until October. That team has been through a lot, and Paul George had that 25-game drug suspension for, I think, performance-enhancing something that he took by accident or whatever it was. Like, everything that's possible to happen to them has happened to them. And Joel Embiid, he's had every kind of injury, and then appendicitis? Like, this doesn't happen in the NBA. This is not the normal thing to knock somebody out of the playoffs, and it just feels sometimes like that team is cursed.
No, you're good to point out, the injuries and what a bummer it is, and we continue to offer our thoughts and prayers to Yusuf Nurkic for his deviated septum and hope that he gets well soon. So I appreciate that reminder. Before I set you loose, I've been asking all the NBA guests this week because A.J. Dubonsa, of course, played his college ball here in state, and his family also lives here in Utah. So we're wondering, I feel like, the answer might be rather obvious, but which team do they not want to get the number one pick, and why?
Oh, man. Now you're just asking me to, take a you-know-what on someone. I've said before, I can't remember where, but, like, if I were the agent or family member or whatever of a player, a highly touted player in the draft, it pains me to say this, because I went to school at UC Davis just down the road from Sacramento.
Yep.
The Kings fans are awesome, and I got a lot of ties out there. But I don't want my player, my brother, my son, whoever, my client, I don't want them going to the Kings. I just don't trust the organization. And that has nothing to do with the current front office, or even the previous front office, who I thought, did a great job when they were allowed to. But every NBA team ultimately is about the values and impulses and wisdom or lack thereof of the owner. And Sacramento's owner has proven himself to be, again and again, one of the worst in the NBA. So I'm steering my clients away from Sacramento. I'd probably be steering them away from New Orleans. There's other places where it's like, are these places you want to live, right? But, like, I think the most important thing is you want to go, if you're especially the high-end players, but pretty much any player, you want to go to a team that you think is going to support you, help you develop, just be the best environment for you to grow and make the most of your career, and hopefully surround you with other good winning players that have the right values. And so you look to the teams and the franchises that consistently do that, and you look to the ones that don't, and those are the ones you steer away from.
Well said. Howard, thanks for the time, man. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll look forward to chatting soon, okay?
You got it, Spence. Talk to you next week. Take care.
Howard Beck from The Ringer. He's long been one of my favorite NBA writers, spent time with the New York Times, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated. He's got a podcast called The Real Ones with former Jazzman Raja Bell. Good listen if you're looking for good NBA stuff. All right, time now for our Uinta Golf PGA Tour update. Swing into Uinta Golf for the new Titleist Scotty Cameron Phantom Putters. The new Phantom Putters are precisely engineered to deliver softer feel, sharper distance control, and total confidence over every putt, only at Uinta Golf. Rory gave one back. So things are getting interesting. Top the leaderboard, 90th playing of the Masters at Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia. Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy are both 6 under par. Justin Rose is in the clubhouse. He carded a 69 today. He's at 5 under. Jason Day is also at 5 under. He's playing some good golf today. Terrell Hatton, Wyndham Clark, Sam Burns, Tommy Fleetwood, 4 under par. Then it's Chris Goddard up. Brooks Koepka, Ben Griffin playing in his first Masters. Shane Lowry, 3 under par. Max Homa and Xander Schauffele are at 2 under. We have a hell of a leaderboard shaping up for the weekend. We'll give you an update a little bit later on, but we'll catch a break. And coming up on the other side, you get an entire hour with our college football expert, insider savant, Christopher Comrade from The Athletic on a Friday, right here on ESPN 700. I don't know that I would have gone Crocodile Rock. It's my favorite Elton John song. But that's one of the things we like about our guest, Chris Comrani, out-of-the-box thinker.
Is that what I am?
I think so.
I mean, what are you thinking here? Like what
Mona Lisa, Mad Hatters.
I mean, yeah, that's an almost famous poll.
Yeah.
This is a high fidelity poll.
Yes, it is.
So probably that the nostalgia rang a little true. Daniel is probably maybe my most listenable favorite.
Excellent track.
Rock, has a little oomph to it.
There's an I just go down an occasional Elton John rabbit hole.
Sure.
Like I'll just be listening to a random playlist and it'll pop on. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot how much it's just like feel good music, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Spring football up on the hill.
Yeah.
So
what are we hearing?
A lot of buzz.
A lot of buzz.
Okay, vibes are good. Potentially the best wide receiver group we've ever seen in the history of college football.
That's what the streets are saying.
What do you think?
Well, I think they return not a lot of guys who caught a lot of balls last year.
Nope.
I mean, I guess Larry Simmons is back. Who was the tall kid that everyone had lots of hope for and kind of didn't pan out?
The tall kid last year?
Merriweather.
Tobias Merriweather. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But they got some transfers in the portal. As always, pump the brakes, please, for the love of all that's holy. Pump the brakes. And I know a lot of folks are selling this reality that the offense will be turned loose under this new head coach. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Devin Dampier has enough time to throw the ball.
See, that we were debating the most important newcomer for Utah football earlier. Bill is filled in for Sean. So we had the voice of the Utes, little crosstalk.
My man.
He may have mentioned How to Not Wednesday.
Okay.
But let's not go any further there. He asked me most important newcomer. I said Kelvin Obot, just because Jordan's got a ton of pressure on his shoulders. We talk a lot about Morgan replacing Witt. Jordan's replacing Jim Harding, and you got to replace all five of those guys, right? So to me, if you want to hone in on one newcomer, I know, again, a lot of buzz about the wide receivers and Brandon Pagan's going to break records. Give me this new offensive lineman.
Well, yes, five-star kid, never happened in the history of the program. You could also make an argument, regardless of where Kelvin plays. I would imagine he'll start out on the right, and the Montana State kid, I think Jefferson is his last name, just won an FCS title, likely to be the penciled-in left tackle. But, yes, if I had to pick one, I would just say that you can't pick one. You have to pick all five. It's the big guys up front. Because, what you cannot, continue to underscore is that the reason why this offense was so good last year was, in addition to Devin Dampier and Wayshawn Parker, was the fact that they had probably, the best offensive line in the history of the program that managed to stay insanely healthy throughout 13 or 14 games. If you are selling this deepest, wide receiver room in a generation, whatever, sure, that's great, but guess what? The offensive line needs to give Devin Dampier or whoever's playing quarterback enough time to throw the damn ball.
100%. You and I are on the same page there. We did get a little scheduling update from Utah football today. How about a Friday night tilt against West Virginia at Rice-Eccles Stadium on November the 27th?
Ooh, I will not be there.
Well, you're not at any of them, but what is that?
I did my time, man.
I know you did. Every time JP bitches at me for not going to a Jazz game, I'm like, I went to every Jazz game for 7 years, dude. Calm down.
Black Friday. Well, I mean, what are we looking at during the day to get pumped for the game? We're gonna go to. I'm not gonna say Sears because I don't know if Sears is still in existence.
Sears. Holy smokes.
Remember the old Sears
I
on
do.
State Street?
Absolutely.
Now it's like a giant pond.
Yeah. Is Sears open anywhere?
I don't know. Maybe like a good RC Willie.
Okay. Underrated. RC Willie does some good work, man.
I agree. Like you can talk me into a overpriced on sale lazy boy.
Absolutely.
Get some potato chips in there.
If you get the right time of year, you can get a good sale though at RC Willie, and you get nice store credit.
Black Friday.
Currently, they're offering air fryers if you buy a couch.
What?
I have two. But
you know a lot about RC Willie.
I bought 2 couches. I got 2 air fryers.
Okay.
I like me a good air fryer.
So and one's just for backup.
Yeah, just in case.
So
you want to buy it off me?
You have one that's Devin Dampier, and then your backup is Bird Ficklin.
Correct. Okay. I actually call my air fryers Devin Dampier and Bird Ficklin.
They're the twins.
I'm gonna go put some fries in Devin Dampier. Is what I usually say.
There you go.
Do you use air fryer?
I do. Yeah.
Underrated tool, man.
Extremely. I don't mind it because this is how I like
listen, we're going to go down a rabbit hole here. Move to Utah. The pervasive culture here, when they offer you potluck meals, a lot of it's boiled-ish meat.
Yes, yes.
Not a big boiled meat fan.
Fair.
I want it done. I want it even sometimes dry. My partner in crime, not a big fan of the dry for some reason.
Really?
She grew up in the pervasive culture.
Oh, okay.
We're this is a little spot of contention here.
Interesting.
In a relationship, so it's a push-pull. Have to compromise.
Indeed.
But yes, it is probably the most underrated tool in my toolbox in the kitchen. French fries for the lad.
Huge.
Just everything you want, you can throw in there for the most part.
Yeah. It is the best way to reheat French fries. It might be the only way to reheat French fries.
Oh, yeah. Well, the microwave's going to limp them out.
Don't even try it. Throw them out.
Toaster oven takes too long.
Yeah.
You're risking maybe it falling, grease getting under there, causing some smell.
Got to keep it clean consistently.
Have to.
So Thanksgiving, I'm assuming you're a white meat person, and Amanda likes the dark meat, right?
Actually not.
Well,
I think it's in the inverse.
But the white meat is drier.
Well, I mean,
dark meat is a little
it
little
depends
wetter.
on, are we talking about, this is what the people are tuning in for.
We do this for 4 hours. You can fast forward if it's the podcast.
This is what we're talking about. Is it a smoked turkey in the smoker?
I think you got to smoke it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in that case,
Yeah.
if it's smoked, then I don't think you can go wrong with any sort of white turkey.
Okay, fair enough. Well, this appears to be the only thing you and Amanda butt heads about. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because let's dig in. Let's dig in. Let's dig into the relationship stuff on air today.
Well, olives are a non-starter for her, which is surprising.
She doesn't like olives.
But that's the only thing.
Oh man,
I'm way more picky.
I love olives
I
myself.
do too. A green olive, give it to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So West Virginia, November 27th, in town, Friday night tilt. Sears probably not an option.
But maybe RC Willie.
Maybe RC Willie, but I would imagine the tailgate will be going wild early on.
So Utah was on the road Saturday after Thanksgiving last year.
That's
Kansas?
correct.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Right. I mean, at least it's not on Thanksgiving. It's better that it's the day after.
I don't know. Do they? I guess Egg Bowl is really the only primary big college football game on Thanksgiving because they seed ground to the
pros.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
But yeah, I can't even tell you one player on West Virginia. I know that Rich Rod is their coach.
Mm-hmm. They have a highly ranked transfer class.
Do they?
I think one of the top 3 or 4 in the Big 12. They also replaced like 750 players.
Cool.
Not that many, but most of their roster. What about the Cody Campbell, Brett Yormark? We're not playing. We're not playing Friday night football in Texas. You can't come for our high school football in Texas.
Manufactured beef, maybe.
Think that's what it was?
Nah, I mean they doubled down on it, but I do think there is a world in which Cody Campbell believes that he has college football's best interests at heart, but also maybe can't see the parallels where others might not believe that. If you're asked to play, you're asked to play. Like, just stop. Like, grow up. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, this is not Billy Bob Thornton in Odessa,
Playing football at West Canaan may have been the best part of your life, but I don't want your life.
Hey,
How was that? That was pretty good.
Peace.
That was pretty good. Yeah, rest in peace for sure.
I raised you to be a winner.
Poor-
Fire that.
Porter like that.
Skin.
You see, that was pretty good. You didn't know I had that accent in me, did you?
Took me back to growing up.
But I don't want your life. That was an emotional scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the trailer. It was like the hook of the trailer,
Yeah. Yeah, it's still, it was West Canaan. Because Cody's whole thing is like, high school football in Texas is sacred, so give us our Friday nights.
I mean, it's one, right? One game?
Yeah, a game, singular.
And it's Houston, Texas Tech?
It is.
In Lubbock.
It is indeed.
Listen, I mean, like, we're reaching, man. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
See, so to me, what that was a power play by Cody Campbell.
Sure.
I'm the guy that's writing the checks for, and look, Ute fans and BYU fans aren't going to want to hear this. Texas Tech is in their own lane.
Yeah, they're the crown jewel, right?
They're on their own stratosphere. They're on their own level. If you're tiering the conference, it starts with them. And no matter who else you want to talk about, they're on the lower tier. And that's big for the Big 12. If Texas Tech can make a CFP and maybe this time win a game or two, that is worth a lot of money for the Big 12 conference. So to me, that's Cody Campbell showing his muscle. That's him getting chesty, getting flexy a little bit, saying, like, I am the guy that is bankrolling your best program, so you will listen to every damn word I have to say.
But even if, like, they didn't, is he going to retract money from his beloved alma mater?
Of course not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's posturing.
I think it's performative.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, this is the equivalent of dog days of summer for college football fandom. You know, even though we're in spring, I guess May would technically be that, but yeah, not a whole lot of nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see if there's a retort, a public retort.
So your Mark basically just said you don't run the Big 12, and that was kind of about it. So we did get a little news, and to me this has to indicate that the details of the Ocho Capital deal are about to, maybe become public or at least be finalized, because Utah's naming Matt Webb, who's the former VP of corporate sponsorships for the Saints and the Pelicans, as the CEO of Utah Brand Initiatives. Of course, Utah Brand Initiatives is the new company being formed by Utah to basically have the partnership with Ocho Capital and the university's foundation, and it's going to help run the athletic department. We've been waiting for a long time here, and I think a lot of fans are curious. College basketball transfer portal is open. We've heard they're going to renovate the Huntsman Center. How much of this money will be infused right away? How much of it goes to the athletic department? How much of it goes to the institution? As I talk about all the time, Taylor Randall is the president of the school. So I think the football portion of our community that maybe has blinders on is like, we're getting $500 million. We're going to go buy a quarterback. That's not how it's going to work. But I don't know how it's going to work. Does this indicate maybe this deal is close to being finalized?
I would imagine so. But again, and since it's a public institution, we could eventually figure that out with various public records requests. I think it would behoove University of Utah athletics and the school as a whole to be as transparent about this as possible, because people are going to wonder, when do the checks start hitting the bank accounts? Like, is it every 2 weeks? Like, when does the football program, the basketball program, the Red Rocks, when do they have the ability to go out and spend money or offer money to players, because you have to be able to have money to offer it in the first place? It's been a little more drawn out than I expected, but granted, a $500 million deal is not chump change for any matter. So I don't know. I don't know who this Matt Webb guy is, and apparently he's done it at the pro level, and he's got a lot of questions to answer, because, like you said, this is not an athletics department funding solely, like funding the athletics department. It's funding the whole school.
Right,
so
right. And I'm just anxious to kind of, I think to underscore your point, I think it's really important that the U is very transparent, because I think if they're not, it's going to set some expectations in people's minds about, now we have this bankroll where we can keep up with Cookie Bro and Cody Campbell, our guy Cookie Bro. So if you're not letting them know, like, hey, we're going to service some debt, we're going to update the facilities, we're going to utilize this to make a better fan experience for you, there's going to be a portion, I would imagine, go in, Jason Day. There's going to be, I'm trying to focus on the show. We have the Masters in the background. We're going to get some golf takes from you later.
I know.
Not right now. But I would imagine if it's not very apparent, transparent, and obvious about what they're using these funds for, there's going to be a portion of the fan base that's wondering, like, why aren't we buying the best running back every year and 3 new offensive linemen? So I just think transparency is going to be key in order to have the expectations set where they need to be set.
Yeah, not only combating unrealistic expectations, it's the state's largest public institution. So it's like a lot of important stuff happens at the University of Utah beyond the athletics department. They have a state-of-the-art, world-class medical school and a great hospital and so many other programs that I'm sure will benefit from this.
Sigma Chi House.
Naturally. I mean, like, they need their Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts ASAP.
PBR.
So it would, and again, this is just my opinion, but like, if you can lay out what's going where and when and why, that just helps everybody. But again, I think that's easier said than done when you're talking about such a big deal. The magnitude of this thing is pretty overwhelming for a lot of people to even comprehend.
So the college basketball transfer portal is open, as you know.
Keanu Dawes is not going to be an All-American at Utah. Is that what you're telling me?
He never was going to.
Okay.
But it looks like he's
not. I
not.
was told otherwise on the internet.
We need to get you off the internet. He didn't really evolve this year. He's a good athlete. He needs to learn how to become a good basketball player. Terrence Brown apparently is looking at like North Carolina. There's some big schools coming after Terrence Brown. I'm not sure that he can play at that level. I know he had a good year for Utah, but I thought he was a high usage.
He could be a 6-man on a good team.
Maybe.
You know?
I mean, a good team, but like
he needs like 12 shots to get 15 points.
Yeah, like
basically.
a top 5 program.
Yeah.
I mean, Goodman tweeted out a list that were like the biggest programs in America for Terrence Brown.
That's the agent hyping it up too, though. Don't forget.
Of course, absolutely. But I'm not really surprised at any of the Utes in the transfer portal because my guess would be some of them were encouraged to go find a new place to play. We just didn't see any forward movement. They had 2 conference wins.
Is there a building block on this roster?
No. I mean, I don't know enough about the players that are rumored to be transferring to play for Alex. I don't think so. The one player who I think's got a little something is the Lucas Longarita kid.
Yeah.
Who was hurt most of last year, and then he came back healthy, but he never really adjusted to what Alex wanted him to do. You can see some flashes with him. I wouldn't call him a building block, but I'm not surprised at any of that. What I am surprised about is Kevin Young has to replace A.J. DiBonsa, of course, and now Rob Wright, the third, is in the transfer portal. He hasn't announced his landing spot, but everything I've seen, people are, and again, to your point, this is agent-driven.
Eyeball emojis?
No, but this is agent-driven. Everything I've seen is people are expecting him to land elsewhere, not come back to BYU. That one kind of caught me off guard.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about his exit from his first school and how he landed in Provo, it shouldn't be.
Yep.
And again, like, this is not us judging. This is
what happened.
What happened, and it's what is still able to happen. Like, again, until there are, I hate the phrase, but the guardrails, until there is a syllabus, so to speak, that you have to follow in order to be in lockstep with the rules, go get that money, man.
Yeah.
Like, before, and one interesting byproduct of this, and you're going to be mad at me because I didn't tweet it out, but before the Final Four, my colleague Justin Williams and I did a story about how there is concern among current veteran players in college basketball and coaches about how some players who will not have, long-term success at the pro level assume these massive deals are just going to come their way every single year regardless.
Yeah.
So they're going to leave potentially good situations for something that might not come to fruition. Like, if we are to believe that Rob Wright III got $3 to $3.5 million from BYU this year, I probably would put a lot of money of my own money down, which is not a lot, that he's not going to get that this year. I just don't think so, unless people are really, really pouring more resources into their, ability to go out and spend in the transfer portal. So it is this, like, be careful what you wish for type thing, especially considering, Rob Wright was good down the stretch, and obviously BYU needed him, but they still lost in the first round despite having A.J. DiBonsa and Rob Wright on that team. Yeah,
and the other thing to keep in mind here is the Rob Wright NBA archetype is from 1995. You look around pro basketball, probably a little higher end than that.
Okay, you keep talking. I'll get you another one.
You look at the NBA right now. Khalid Al-Amin is a great college pull. I think Rob is probably a better player overall, even though that was my guy for UConn.
Isaiah Collier, similarities.
Isaiah's bigger than Rob is. So you got to think like Ty Lawson type.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And once upon a time, you could play a Ty Lawson. Yeah. But you look around pro basketball now. Go find me a 6-foot lead guard who's not a great shooter that just handles and distributes and is just an average defender. Right. Like, if I'm Rob Wright's brother, agent, whatever, like, the reality is let's maximize this earning window for you in college as long as we can. Yep. And then, he could play in Spain. He could play in Germany, and like we had Spencer Nelson on yesterday. Spencer Nelson played in Europe for 10 years, okay, and made a lot of money and has been smart with it. And so that was a great springboard for life. Mm-hmm. You could do worse than playing in Europe, but I don't think he's an NBA guy. I just don't.
Well, and in addition to Rob Wright leaving, Kennard Davis Jr. also went into the portal,
Yep.
and he became a key kind of linchpin to that rotation. But again, like, it's still a team that basically crashed out. That
Right,
had sky
right.
high expectations.
Yeah.
So I know they're getting the Branch kid. Apparently, Colin Chandler is back in the portal. Is he more pulled to Provo?
You ready? I have it on good authority. You ready?
I'm ready. Scoop.
His bride wants to move back to Utah.
Well, okay, but there are multiple schools in Utah. I was told, Farmington kid. I believe he grew up a Utah
He
fan for
did.
some insane reason, because I don't know if Utah was good when he was a kid.
He did, but Britton Covey grew up a BYU fan.
Correct.
I think you go where the money is
Money
right now. And look, I actually think Colin's an NBA player.
Yeah.
And he had a good year under Mark, didn't develop all that much. I don't know this for sure, but if you're Colin Chandler and you've seen Kevin Young put Yegor Demon and AJ DeBonce into the NBA, and you're like, wait, who's Kendall Sanders? Like, my guess is he probably would be pulled down to Provo. I'd love to see him come to Utah. He's an awesome player.
Yeah.
My guess is he's pulled down to Provo.
So yeah, I mean, Kevin Young has his work cut out for him, but again, that's kind of what in that story that CJ and I did, like, Kevin laid out to us how their contract structures are going to go from a year-to-year basis, and it's not, all that dissimilar to what the NBA does. You max out your guys, and then basically, I think Kevin phrased it as like, give out vet minimums to everyone else to see how they perform and see if they can improve enough to beat one of those guys next year. I don't think BYU had any of those guys that took a major step, and now they're having to replace 4 out of their 5 starters. Richie included.
Richie's gone, yeah. All right, coming up next, you may call him Moon Boy.
Ooh.
I call him Moon Man.
I know you do.
Chris Camerani is live in studio. I want to let you know one of CK's favorite bands, Muse, is coming to the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on August the 20th. Tune in to the OC show at noon for your chance to score tickets. How's your singing voice? Can you sing?
No.
Not at all?
I mean, I can sing my kid to sleep.
What about after, well,
His
actually,
ears don't bleed. So
what about after, you know what, I'm going to say 2 Bud Lights with you.
why not? Why not? Well, you know it's not Bud Lights. It's the champagne of beers.
I thought you were having a Bud Light at JP's wedding.
That was a Budweiser.
Budweiser.
How dare you?
Oh, my bad.
So
So a couple Millers down. Can I get you to sing a karaoke song?
no, I'll dance though. You see me dance.
Oh, I've seen you
Yeah,
dance. You
yeah,
can move.
Yeah.
It's not surprising.
But singing, no, not publicly. Only for the lad.
Okay. What song do
A
you
lot
sing?
of James Taylor.
A
for
lot
the
of
lad.
JT?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's relaxing.
Shouldn't be all that surprising.
No, it's a great song. All right. So, last year it took RSL 10 matches to get their 4th win. This year it only took 6. Case to be made, they should have had all 3 in the other 2 matches as well.
Yep.
Sporting KC, once upon a time, was a rival and a good side. They're rebuilding right now. Our guy, Sergi Solins, hit the crossbar twice. They still won 3-1. I had Jason Christ on Talking Real last night. I know you're a consistent watcher. Dunny on vacation. And in classic Jason form, he was not pleased
Not all that impressed.
with the 3-1 win. And even, I don't know if you saw, did you saw?
I haven't seen it yet.
I asked him about the Gozo goal.
Yeah, he was like,
It's like his first touch was horrible.
the one that he popped up to
Yes.
himself to shoot.
Yes.
So is Jason contending that there was an accidental pop up to himself and that was the first touch?
Yes, he said the first touch is supposed to be on the ground, but he rebounded well after a horrible first touch to score a great goal. It's classic Jason Christ.
I didn't listen to what Xavier said afterward, but I don't know if he would cop to it, but I think you could make an argument that from that angle, the easiest way to hit the ball to the far post would be solely off the volley as opposed to off the ground.
So you think he did it intentionally?
I've watched it a few times. It looked like it. I mean, like
Hell of a goal, man.
yeah, goal of the week, MLS goal, AT&T MLS goal of the week.
Thanks for shouting out the sponsor.
I was told by somebody at the club that this Sergi Solins kid is going to be something, and of course, I'm like, what? Like people have been saying at the club for a long time, oh, this MLS draft pick is going to turn out to be something, and often they don't.
More often than not.
Sometimes they do.
Little Mecca Anelli.
Thank you.
Little Tony Beltran.
Thank you.
Little Jamie Watson.
But I mean,
Nice kid.
Sergi should have 6 goals.
Yeah.
In however many games they've played, and he hasn't started. I mean, I know he's kind of been the starter for various reasons due to injury with Olatunji's freak eye injury, but yeah, man, watching this team, it's a trip to see how ineffective and just blah they were last year.
Mhm.
To all of a sudden, and it sounds super dorky, man, but the formation change really unlocked all of their best players. And in addition, you sign guys that just fit the. This is what happens when you sign good players that fit the style of play that you want to play. You had Alexander Skutranis as your left back last year, but guess what? Now he's good enough to be your backup because Sanabria is that good on the left hand side.
Yeah.
And Gozo is just unlocked because he's just overlapping with guys and people can't keep up with him. But one thing that should not be underestimated is how good they've been at finding players to play in the midfield. Just random dudes.
Yeah.
I think an Anelli surgery keeping him out for 6 months once upon a time would be a death knell for this team. But Caliscan steps in, and you can make an argument that he's looked better at that position than Anelli did in the last year.
Yeah.
And your guy Stein, I know you're Team Stein.
I am Team Stein. Great mullet, solid mustache.
It works. If they can stay healthy, if they don't lose a lot of players to various international windows this year, they got some juice, man. I'm telling you, they got some juice.
And you know what's kind of fascinating to consider, and I think this is Jason's opinion, at least he alluded to it yesterday. I think Solins is your starting 9.
I think so,
And I
too.
think Olatunji is a great option off the bench.
Yeah, I think so too. I think unless he hits a run of form where he is scuffing one-on-ones or is playing out of the system, but you found a kid who's talented, who busts his ass. I mean, watching his defensive work rate is wild. He turns guys over, and that's a pretty tough job for a striker, considering it is you think of the striker as the wide receiver position in soccer. That is where your highest paid, often most like the personalities, let's say, are a little more flamboyant or intense. But the fact that he's putting in the work rate, shout out JP.
Indeed.
Like, until it doesn't work or until you hit the skid, so to speak, I think you have a formula that you can't necessarily mess with.
So some people still call him Moon Boy. You know that I call him Moon Man.
You've called him Moon Man for a while.
I have, because
in
he's
honor of Artemis too.
Indeed. Because he's grown up right in front of our eyes. Now, Diego Luna hurt to start the year. And then when we saw him in truncated spaces, he wasn't fit, wasn't in form, and that's fine because you're hurt. It takes a minute to get back. We're biased around here. Kyle Beckerman should have started against Belgium. And if you look at the 2 games the U.S. men's national team just played, they got their heads kicked in. Feels like they could use a little Diego Luna back in the group.
Made Portugal game, sure. Belgium. I mean, these games are tough because you're talking about so much turnover that eventually a starting 11 gets entirely turned over, which does not happen in games that matter.
Yeah.
You have 5 subs. You don't have 11 subs or however many they get in these friendlies.
11.
11, yeah.
It's
So
wild.
they get 11 subs.
It's wild.
Would he? I don't know how he could have kept the U.S. from having, some howlers against Belgium. Giveaways, just total lackadaisical play. But the fact that he could have been a game changer off the bench, I think you could make an argument that he was weirdly a winner of this March transfer window because so many guys played so poorly or underperformed, so to speak. But can he get into form? Can he get into shape? He's not, if he makes the team, he's not starting. There's no way he's going to start. But, if Pochettino needs a spark in the 70th minute and you have an in-form Diego Luna, he still has that ability to wow. He's in tight spaces. He makes those types of passes that can unlock defenses and change games. But he has, what are we at? Mid-April? He has 6 weeks, man.
Yeah.
And he's got to keep, the goal against Kansas City is great, but to your point, he's got to start going 90.
Yeah, has to start going 90, and then has to do what he did in the first 45 all game long, because you could tell he started to fade a little bit, and that's why Pablo took him out. But the first 45, it wasn't just the goal. He was tracking back. He was dispossessing, the attacking players from the other team. And I think as a young player, he just had the reputation of being so brilliant offensively with the ball at his feet that, his defensive performance was a lot like Jimmer Fredette at BYU. We just need you to shoot and score. Don't worry about the other side of it. But Pablo asks all these guys to play both sides.
Well, that's the only way the formation works.
Right.
Because otherwise, as we saw, even regardless of they were playing a different formation last year, the last couple of years when the ball turned over, RSL's lack of athleticism and speed was just fully on display and in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see how Luna looks in this system once he gets fit, because they have so many guys on the ball that can do what he was needed to do, to your point, the last couple of years. Now you have Gozo, Gilavogi, who's been phenomenal.
It's awesome, yeah.
Sanabria, your guy Sergi, how does Diego Luna assert himself into this new look RSL is an interesting plot point to see, if they can keep this thing going, because once upon a time, like you said, he kind of had to put it all on his shoulders. Now he needs to play a bit part, but also make sure that when the ball's at his feet, he doesn't force it. He doesn't try to take guys 1-on-3 or whatever. He needs to make the right pass the way so many other players have been doing the first 2 months of the season.
Can we give some love to Falk's guy, Big Philip Quinton?
Yeah, Preston. How dare you?
2 assists.
Yeah, 2 assists. Yeah, Preston to action due to injuries. That Yedlin hamstring looked bad in Vancouver. Don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know when the Arias guy is going to be, in contention for an 18er start. My guess is once those guys get fit, they'll obviously leapfrog him. But this is how a good MLS team is made. You have to have guys who can get off the bench and not make you significantly worse, which guys like Philip Quinn has done yet. He's done an admirable job.
And I think there was, I don't want to just single one person out here.
No, you can.
Well, I think there was pressure on the front office after,
some misses.
Rowan Cruz I already forgot what's his name. Who was the
Who was- what's his
DP?
name?
He was the DP that just was horrible.
Oh, Diogo.
Diogo Gonçalves,
Yep.
who inspired a coach over there to say publicly that the reason it's not working is he's smarter than the rest of my players. He thinks 2 steps ahead. And then you watch, you're like, dude, he's just not good. There was pressure, and look, Kurt was the guy making the calls.
Right.
And now it's Jason and Kurt and Tony, and it's more of a collective effort over there. But they needed to get this offseason right in a way that they haven't gotten it right in a little while, probably since the old Chicho Andres
Yeah.
group.
Oh,
you know?
well, without a doubt. I mean, if the signings that you make don't pan out, then the new formation falls flat on its face.
Exactly.
You're giving up more goals. You're not looking anything remotely close to being a cohesive unit. I'm no expert, but the nerds, MLS nerds, think RSL's like a great team to watch this year, and
Yeah.
that they're fun and that they can throw punches.
Yeah.
And I know the sample size is still small. What are we, 6 or 7 games in?
4-1-1,
Yep.
6 games.
And because they have this weird break because I think Seattle needed to move a game
Oh, is that what it was?
because they're in CONCACAF. But
Okay.
yeah, it's still early, but early returns are they pulled all the right strings. They made all the right moves.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Sanabria move, I think a lot of people thought it could be what it has become. But like, in order for this formation to work, you need dominant wingbacks.
Yeah.
And RSL has them. And you've convinced, and one thing like that can't go understated either, is like you convinced a guy who on a lot of teams would probably be wanting to play as a 10 or a pure winger who puts in no effort. You convinced Gozo to be a wingback,
Yeah.
which is probably the right move for the future of his career,
Yeah.
considering just how seamless it's been.
So if I asked you, you got to take some funds out of your Roth IRA in the S&P 500. I know I'm speaking your language here.
Well, you're also terrifying me
You-
because, things aren't great.
Well, you got to move some things around.
Okay, all right.
And
Reallocation.
I give you the option of investing in the following 2 stocks: Diego Luna, Xavier Gozo.
Oh, Gozo.
Oh, really?
Easy.
Easy. Interesting.
I mean, Luna is a great player. Don't get me wrong. But his ceiling is a lot lower than Xavier Gozo.
Okay.
Like,
Is that just athleticism?
athleticism,
Yeah.
like style of play. I think the world is infatuated with players like Xavier Gozo and the style that he can play and how you can put him at several spots. Diego is like he's either a 10 who drifts out wide or he's a winger who drifts in as a 10.
Mhm.
And that's not a bad thing, but I mean there's a world if Gozo can keep this thing going that after the World Cup, like he's going to start getting senior team call-ups
Mhm.
regularly, and he's part of that next generation. And if he keeps this thing going, then RSL's going to have offers from big clubs. I mean, Tommy Scoops.
Great mustache.
He's reported that clubs at major club like and at I think Aston Villa was run, maybe West Ham. Like these are
So we're talking Premiership.
yeah.
Okay.
Like we're talking about heavy hitters here that are interested in this kid. So if he stays healthy, if he keeps playing as well as he has been playing, and he puts the ball in the back of the net or makes the right play, you're looking at I don't know when he turns 19. It's probably soon.
I think, did he just?
Or maybe he just did, but
He
you're still
may
looking
have.
at a teenager who is just scraping the surface of how good he is. I mean, like he's the best. He has the highest ceiling of this on this RSL roster. It's not even close.
Okay, you can invest in Chris Lankos or Luke Kremelmeyer. It's a throwback.
Well, Kerry Talley, because once upon a time, Kerry Talley was at the KFC Taco Bell on 4th South,
Nice.
and my friends and I were like, "Dude, that's Kerry Talley."
Was it 2 a.m.?
No,
Okay.
it was actually like 4 p.m., but we were eating chalupas, and I think he was too
Kerry Talley was smashing chalupas at 4 p.m.
on a weekday. I think.
He did score 1 great goal.
Huh?
I believe Kerry Talley is now running a youth soccer organization somewhere.
Kerry Talley, or the other one that I would have pulled was Scott Garlick.
Scott Garlick, who retired to take a job in real estate.
I think he does Key West boats now or something, living the good life, doing it right.
Yes, so apparently, because at the time, that was a massive welcome to soccer moment for me. For the listeners that are confused and bored and haven't turned the channel yet, Scott Garlick, once upon a time, was set to be the starting keeper for Real Salt Lake. And 2 weeks before the season started, announced that he was leaving professional soccer to work in real estate. Now, to your point, I think it's worked out for our guy. But at the time, back to RSL.
Yeah, the Wall of the Wasatch.
The Wall of the Wasatch. Who you got in the Masters? Can't take your guy, okay? You called the Morikawa victory.
Vijay Singh.
Not in the
playing.
fields,
Yeah.
but okay.
Greg Norman.
Also past his prime.
I already saw that Rory McIlroy is leading, so I can't pick him.
No, don't pick Rory. He's up 2. But you got some other options there. Some former major champions in the top 10.
Who's the guy that had beef with DeChambeau?
Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
That's not a bad choice. He's tied for 11th right now. He's won 5 majors, as you know.
Who's the guy that got arrested?
Scotty Scheffler. Ironically enough, because he's a choir boy.
Yeah.
It's a Boy Scout. Not off to a great start.
I'll go with Koepka.
Brooks Koepka is not a bad call.
What about you? You can't take anybody in the top 3.
Oof. I have a feeling Rory's going to run away with it. Okay, I can't take anyone in the top 3. I'll take Justin Rose, who's tied for 5. That dude just doesn't age at all. Are we going to get you on a golf course this season?
Yeah, it just needs to be before early July.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. Come early July, we lose you for a long time.
Well, here's my question. Like, everyone talks about how awesome the Masters is. Would the Masters allow me to show up in my full golfing regalia?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Not a chance. In fact, I learned something new today about the Masters. I think it would be a really cool experience to go. But, I mean, look, their first female member was like 2014.
Sure.
There's still
not exactly on the front foot of diversity.
Well, and there's still a little flavor there of like
so yeah
things were great a long time ago.
So
we
me
might
me showing up looking the way I look.
I mean,
they don't know how well I hit the ball without shoes on.
They don't, and we'd love for them to learn. But I mean, if you showed up in a collared shirt, and maybe a hat,
I have 2 of those.
Yeah, you have 2.
I have 2 collared shirts.
They'd let you in. But I learned this today, because again, it is this like sacred space for people to love the game of golf. And Jason Day hit his iron onto what's called a false front. Again, I'm telling the listeners, not you, because you know what this is.
False front or false flag?
False front,
okay.
Which means false front is something where you think, okay, if I land it on the front of the green, it's going to be safe, but it ends up rolling back off the green.
Okay.
So one of the announcers said, Jason Day needs to run and mark that ball before it rolls back. And the other announcer said, you're not allowed to run at Augusta. So like the patrons, when they're let in to go get their spot, they have to
power walk.
They have to walk to go set their chairs down.
If somebody has to really go to the bathroom and then they can't make it, they just have to go.
I think you just
go bridesmaid style.
Yep.
On the
I
12th
think
green.
you're Melissa McCarthy squatting in the sand, which would be quite a scene.
I mean, I get it, but you know me, man. People take themselves way too seriously, so I'm glad a lot of people like it.
Not your jam.
It's just life's too short to take yourself that seriously.
I completely agree. What does have your attention right now? Work-wise. I mean, I know it's Leo, and I know it's.
We're kind of in that awkward space where you're planning ahead for next year, keeping an eye on spring ball, potentially have some trips in the work for spring ball that haven't been approved yet, so I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
I am going to Tempe next weekend.
Lovely.
For the first ever Division I college women's flag football tournament. Sponsored by the Fiesta Bowl.
Interesting.
And it is the fastest growing sport, I think, in the country. They've had a 60% increase year over the last 3 years in terms of participants at the youth and high school level. And the Big South Conference, which is one of the smaller Division I conferences, announced last week or 2 weeks ago that they're going to start it as a varsity sport in 2028. And the Big 12 is also kicking the tires on it.
Interesting.
You need at least 6 members to start. It's an Olympic sport in 2028.
I did see that, yeah.
And watching it, they're good, man.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go get a sense of, this fastest growing sport that, in a weird way, this generally when it comes to football, the NFL and college ranks are definitely kind of at odds. Like, leave me alone. I'm doing this. Yep. But this is one thing where everybody is kind of rowing in the same direction in terms of growing the sport. The NFL is a huge proponent of it. The national governing body, Team USA, is also in lockstep with them. So it's going to be cool to kind of get a taste of what LA 2028 will look like.
You been to a Mammoth game?
I have not.
We're going to have playoff hockey here.
Are we?
Yeah, it's pretty
Is
cool.
there a difference between playoff hockey and regular season hockey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does
Big
the
time.
puck go faster?
The speed of the puck remains relatively similar, regular season,
I can't
postseason.
believe we're signing off and you didn't bring up the Mammoth one time. How dare you?
Oh, yes. You have a hot take on the Mammoth or no?
I don't.
You don't.
We'll wait for John Paul's take.
Fair enough. Good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Chris Camerati, time now for the ESPN 700 Festival of Tees. Powered by the Utah Golf Association, we're giving away rounds of golf to the best courses in the state. Listen to the OC Show from 11 to 2 and this old radio program from 2 to 6 for your chance to win every day from ESPN 700. Details can be found at ESPN700sports.com. Text in right now. Who you got to win? Who you got to win the Masters? 877-353-0700. That's 877-353-0700. We're going to send you to Glenmore Golf on us. It is the ESPN 700 Festival of Tees. Welcome Shane Lowry to the group chat. Birdied 18. He's at 5 under par. Rory McIlroy still leads at 8 under, but Patrick Reed is making a little push here. He's at 7 under par. This is a jam-packed leaderboard. Going to talk a little golf with Paul Pugmire coming up in a bit. But playoff hockey in Salt Lake City, Utah. Nick Olachek, what do you make of that, buddy? Pretty exciting.
Spence, this is the only advice, okay? I haven't been on this earth a whole long time. But the only advice I will give to Utahns or Mammoth Nation fans, wherever they may be, is buckle up. Because there is no hockey like playoff hockey, and this team extremely well deserving of clinching a playoff position. But this is the time of the year where every shift truly does matter. Every hit, every shot, every save, everything matters that much more. And so I'm excited, yes, because I've been very fortunate growing up as a hockey lifer, skating since I was 3 years old. I grew up in the city of Chicago, where I saw my childhood team win 3 Stanley Cups in 6 seasons, which was just an incredible run. As a fan, and now having been through that and knowing what playoff hockey is like as a kid, as an adult, it gives you an even more renewed vigor and excitement of what this game can really bring to fans and to the city. And so very well deserved from everybody within the organization, as well as our terrific fans who have been there from day one and have been the very best in the entire National Hockey League.
We need to give a lot of credit to Bill Armstrong and his staff. And, it's interesting, Nick. I feel like he has been almost clairvoyant at the start of every season, basically setting expectations. Because last year he came on the show and he's like, yeah, I think we'll be in the fight at the end. And this year he said, this is the year we think we can make that next step and qualify for the playoffs. And you've had a front row seat here. How would you characterize the job that Bill and his staff have done building this team both for the present and for the future?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to answer that, Spence. Honestly, none of the opinions matter, because the facts and because the achievement and the success flat out speaks for itself. And I think this even begins, this is not just when this organization got to Utah. I think the work that Bill Armstrong, John Ferguson Jr., who's an assistant general manager, David Ludwig as well, the entire hockey operations team, of course, headed by President of Hockey Operations, Chris Armstrong, as well. But even when this hockey ops staff was put together in their prior spot of knowing that, yeah, it takes a while to rebuild. It takes a while when the team isn't very good and you miss the playoffs and you have high draft picks, and how can you use those to transform your future? And now, well, it's all paying off. And so it's a lot of time. You need a lot of patience. And now, all of a sudden, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, Dmitry Simashev on his way up. Like, these guys have come in and they have made huge impacts on this roster, especially the first 2 guys that I had mentioned having unbelievable seasons. And so you build through the draft. You make smart investments in players that are not only good players but good people, and guys that are controllable assets in terms of having term on their deal and making sure that you're salary cap compliant. So there's always a lot of balls in the air, but I cannot give enough kudos and enough applause to what Bill Armstrong and the team have done to put themselves in this position. And look, I think one of the really key examples of how Utah and how Salt Lake City and how the Mammoths have become a real destination is the Mackenzie Weegar trade around the deadline. That was a guy who had a full no-movement clause in his contract, which for our newer fans means that he could veto any trade. The team had to come to him, and he could either give the old thumbs up or thumbs down. And he looked into Utah. Players talk a lot. I'm sure he maybe conversed with some guys on the team that he knew prior, and then he ended up coming to the decision that was, you know what, I want to go be part of something special. I want to go join a destination to play knowing that you're going to get unbelievable support from the top down with Ryan and Ashley Smith, and just the unending and unwavering support that they've given to the organization at every single level. This is becoming and is a place where people want to be, because they see the team that is here now, yes, but also what this team is going to be down the line. And so that all starts with the kind of people that you bring in. And of course, it starts on the ice. And so I cannot say enough good things about what General Manager Bill Armstrong and his entire staff, the amateur scouts, the pro scouts, the drafting process. It takes a while to be able to get to this spot. Sometimes it takes organizations 8 years to get to this position, and now with the support from the top down and the guys that are on the ice right now and that are going to continue to grow, the present is very bright, Spence, but the future is just as bright, and I think that's probably the most exciting part for me when I think about the job that they have done with this roster and a lot of the young studs that still we haven't seen put on a Mammoth jersey.
On June 17th, 1994, on one coast, Al Cowlings was driving a white Bronco with O.J. Simpson in the back. And on the other coast, a million of us were in Lower Manhattan for the Canyon of Heroes, watching the New York Rangers go from Lower Manhattan to Broadway with the Stanley Cup. And you referenced your experience in Chicago. It's an unbelievable scene when a team can hoist that thing. How broad, Nick, are you willing to let your imagination go about what this team can do this year?
Well, actually, funny enough, Spence, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but my dad was actually a part of that Rangers team.
He sure was.
And I really love how you brought that up, because it gives me goosebumps, because whenever I hear him talk about his time with the Rangers, he played a very small part on that team in terms of the role that he had, but boy, oh boy, did he ever have the respect of his teammates, and the kind of guy that when given the opportunity went out and made good on it. But just to be part of that team and the Game 7 guarantee from Mark Messier and that run, and how long New York had to wait to bring the Stanley Cup back there. He gets emotional whenever he talks about it, and it's hard for me not to as well, because of how much the Stanley Cup means, of how much the Stanley Cup playoff means, and what a galvanizing state of affairs it is. And I'm in my dealings around town and going to the grocery store and the barber shop and the gas station, Spence, I'm seeing Mammoth gear and merchandise everywhere. And nothing makes me happier than to see that, because, yes, the game of hockey has given me and my family everything we have. I am forever indebted to the game, and now in my occupation, I am trying to give back to it and to help do my part in growing the game. And so the excitement level of having a playoff professional sports team here in Utah it's hard to put into words, but I'm just so excited to see the fans' faces light up. I'm so pumped to see. Not sure what all the extracurriculars are going to be, but I would assume kind of like what we had on the last couple of opening nights here in Utah. Maybe a party on the plaza at the Delta Center before the game, and to see the fans tailgating and everything that's going to come with it, as well as the playoff traditions that are going to be born this year. There's so many things aside from just the games themselves that are going to be built from this, not to mention the economic impact of all the local businesses and restaurants and bars around town for home games, but also road games. We'll get some watch parties going. So just it's such an unbelievable time of year, and the fact that this team has rightfully earned their spot in the postseason is extremely special, and we should be going into the playoffs not just happy to have made it, but to go in and make some noise and try and go on a run, because I think when you look at this roster up and down, from the goaltender on out, I believe that this is a roster, and not just saying this because I want the Mammoth to win every single game, but I think this is a roster that can beat anybody on any given night, which is what they have proven, not just last year, but this year, of course, as well.
So it does look like it will be Edmonton. That's not set in stone. And we saw these two teams match up recently, and I was able to watch that entire thing live. One of the best games I think we've seen all year. And the Mammoth came out on the right side of things. Let's just operate off the assumption that it will be Edmonton, even though there's a slight chance that Anaheim or Vegas could be involved. What do you make of that matchup? They obviously have who many people believe to be the best hockey player in the world right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, you always have to take into consideration the game-breaking ability of Connor McDavid, who is the best player on the planet, bar none, right now, and I think has been the last couple of years. And as long as he's in the league, I think he will continue to hold that title. But, the one thing with the Edmonton Oilers that really comes to mind when I think about their team as a whole is that they score a lot, but they also give up a ton as well. And there's been some high-scoring games that they've been involved in this year. Look no further, as you mentioned, Spence, than the last time that those two teams have met, an 11-goal thriller, which was an instant classic. Part of me wants to say that was maybe the most exciting game in franchise history, but I keep going back to that home win against the Philadelphia Flyers when it was 4-2 with under 2.5 minutes to go, and the Mammoth scored the goal to make it 4-3, and then the first ever extra attacker goal, and then Captain Clayton Keller ended up winning that one in overtime. But they play fast, and they're very risk averse. But you know what, man? That is a team that, yes, they've got high-end skill. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl has been out injured for a couple of weeks now, and supposedly he is working his way back to be ready for playoffs. So that's yet another superstar you're going to have to take into consideration each and every shift and know exactly when and where those guys are at when they're out there on the ice. But I just think that the one thing that the Mammoth, along with a few other things, but the main thing is that Utah can really skate. And there's not a lot of teams in the league that can keep up with really, really quick teams, like a Colorado Avalanche kind of team where they've got McKinnon and they've got Natchez and Makar. But the Edmonton Oilers, that's also a very tough task. And so when you look at their roster up and down, they can really score. But I'm going to continue to hammer home the point is that defensively, they are suspect at times because all they want to do is score. And the other part, too, is the goaltending position. Like they are leaky at best. And we know and we've seen the great offensive production that the Utah Mammoths have been able to produce on a consistent basis, especially here lately where they've, in this 5 or 6 game runs, it seems like every game they're scoring 6 goals, 7 goals, 4 goals like they did last game. So I don't think this group should be scared or should be hesitant on anybody, because the one last point I will say on whoever the playoff matchup is going to be, and by the way, Spence, to your point, it is very tight in the Pacific. The Oilers got 3 games left. They're at 90 points. Vegas has 3 games left with 89 points. And the Anaheim Ducks, they got 89 points too. So very realistically, yes, if the playoffs started today, Utah would play Edmonton, but very well could be either of those teams. And so with the speed that Utah plays with, how good they've been defensively this year, Karel Vejmelka playing on the top of his game here lately, this team is en fuego right now, and they should be feeling very confident heading into the postseason.
While we're in the space, and the metrics would probably indicate that Anaheim is the answer to the question. Their net is -14. All due respect, but what matchup would you want the most to see the Mammoth play in the first round, and why?
Yeah, to put a cap on Edmonton, I mean, that's a team that's been to the Stanley Cup final the last 3 seasons in a row. So you would assume that while, yes, statistically, and though they are top of the Pacific, they've had a bit of a step back this year as being, normally a team that's well over the 100-point total. But they played a lot of hockey, and so you wonder if maybe they run into a wall and they hit a wall. As far as the Vegas Golden Knights go, that has been a team that has been just grabbing and gripping onto anything they possibly can to ensure that they do make the playoffs. They fired their head coach Bruce Cassidy with 8 games left to go, kind of an unheard of move in the National Hockey League, firing your coach where you're already in a playoff position. But they didn't like the way that they were going, and so they fire him and they bring in John Tortorella, who is a guy that can light a fire. And Vegas has played extremely well under him. Their first 4 games, they started off with 4 wins in a row, and they're always going to be a tough matchup. But I think similarly to Edmonton there, Spence, is that goaltending has been a major debacle for the Vegas Golden Knights this year. And they hoped that when they acquired Carter Hart that he would be able to solve the goaltending position. He's been dealing with an injury. He's been out for a long time, so they've had to rely on Akira Schmid. They've had to rely on Aiden Hill, and neither of those guys have really done their job consistently of a goaltender of trying to give your team a best chance to win. So I'm not scared of the Vegas Golden Knights either. Utah has had some success against them in their history, especially this season. But, of course, like any good team, they've got some studs. Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, guys that you're going to have to account for. And the Anaheim Ducks, I mean, they went out in the offseason and they brought in the second winningest coach of all time, and that's Joel Quenneville. And I think he has done an unbelievable job in helping all of those young players take their game to the next level. That's a heck of a roster. Their goaltending lately has hit a rough patch, but offensively, they've got a couple of guys that are game breakers, like a Leo Carlson, like a Troy Terry, guys that can turn a game on its head. But if you're looking at matchup, I think that is probably a matchup that you, if you could pick, that would be one that I think Utah would like, considering that is another team that likes to run and gun. And you look at Utah's advanced numbers this year, Spence. Utah's consistently top 5 in some of the deeper analytics in terms of shot volume allowed, shot from the slot, the real high danger area out in front of the net. Utah's done a great job defending in their own zone, but also off the rush. And off the rush is an area where the Anaheim Ducks really do excel. And so if you're able to force those turnovers, get the puck going the other way, you'll probably be able to catch them in the transition game, as they are a little bit more risky to play on the offensive side. But either of those matchups, there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons. But I think the kind of the common understanding here is that if it's Anaheim, I mean, any of these series, it's really hard to sit here and to try to make a case. But as long as you get in, anything can happen. And so Utah right now, they just got to make sure that their game, offense, defense, structurally, players getting back and getting healthy, hopefully with McBain and Hayton still out. They want to be playing at their very best and making sure that they're giving it all, so that way they're in stride with the final 5 games of the season.
Gave some love to the front office. How about this coaching staff and Coach Torney? You know, one of the things, Nick, I noticed pretty quickly is, he's an intense dude, but he stays pretty balanced, right? And early on this year, the start was great, and then the next couple of weeks, were a little bit difficult, and things started getting a little shaky. And I'm not a fire the coach guy, and I'm sure you're the same, because I was raised in this stuff like you were, and I think a lot of people don't really understand what it's like when your dad loses a job and you got to move. So I'm never one to be like, I don't want to see a family uprooted or a guy lose his job. But I know there were some people around hockey wondering if he was the right guy as this year was supposed to manifest the way that it has. But for a minute, we weren't sure. What stands out most to you about Coach Torney and the coaching staff and the way they were able to kind of steady the ship?
Oh, I actually had a chance to ask Andre Tourigny a question this morning at the press conference after practice, and a lot of questions he had gotten before mine were, what did you like most about the season? And like any great leader, Coach Andre Tourigny instantly deflected away from himself. He said what great steps the players have taken, the moves that the front office have made. There was a question asked about the leadership group that has been here through thick and thin, the likes of Lawson Krause and Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, guys that, well, for lack of a better phrase, were here through the thick and thin of where many of people in this organization were prior, where they didn't have access to the things that they needed. Travel and staying on the road, there were a lot of struggles there. Let's just call it what it is and leave it at that. And that was the reality. And they battled through it, and look at them now. They have all of the resources that they could possibly want and more, because they deserve it. They didn't bail on this organization. They continued to dig in. They put their nose to the grindstone each and every day. And that's what it is to play in the National Hockey League. And so now they're finally being able to experience all of that work and all of those tough times and the adversity paying off. But what I asked Andre Tourigny was, we know you're a great leader, and any great leader deflects. but what are you most proud of? What makes you think on this season and smile? And if you look at head coach Andre Tourigny's coaching record over the last 5 years, the points percentage, the winning percentage has gone up and up, 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 and up. The last 5 years, his team has gotten better and better and better. And it's the roster, starting with the hockey operations staff, as we've talked about, of bringing in players no longer just to get to the salary cap floor, now being able to spend to the salary cap ceiling and bring in guys that are impactful players, difference makers, but good people first and foremost. And so I was really happy to hear him say that, because it is a progression of the message that has been sold from day one of trying to build a blueprint of what success could be and would be and now is in this organization, founded on hard work, yes, founded on sticking together even through some adversity that there has been this year. And one of the biggest ones is the passing of Clayton Keller's father and how his teammates rallied around him. And Clayton hasn't missed a beat. If anything, he's taken his game to another level. So there's been a lot that's gone on this year. Though the Utah Mammoth made the playoffs, there have been some tough stretches. There's been great stretches. They won 7 in a row. And then after that 7-game win streak, the next 11 games, they lost 9 of those. And all of a sudden, everybody's thinking, oh, the sky's falling. Well, 82 games is a grind. There's going to be peaks. There's going to be valleys. There's ups. There's downs. But it's how much can you stay even keel? Are you going to go off on your own page? Are you going to get selfish? Or are you going to look in the mirror and say, as a player, as a coach, whatever your role is, what can I do better? And this group has stuck together from the very beginning. They have earned the right to be in the postseason, and I think that they have the right guy at the helm, that being Andre Tourigny, to lead them to the promised land, because he is a guy that has had to adapt and evolve his coaching style over the years. He's told us, and maybe he was a little bit more of a harder guy. Not that he's not demanding at all now. He's extremely demanding coach as he is a leader of men. But back in the day, maybe he rubbed more guys the wrong way. Now the approach is, I'm going to understand each and every player that's on my roster, and I'm going to know what makes them tick. I'm going to know that when they're down, how can I motivate them? Because kicking somebody in the rear is not going to work for everybody. Some guy needs a pat on the shoulder. Some guy needs you to take him into your office and rip him a new one. Some guy needs you to rip him a new one in front of the rest of the team. So each player is different, and I give Andre Tourigny so much credit for knowing exactly what makes each one of his players motivated, and sometimes when there's some struggles, he knows how to get the best out of them. But right now, everybody's clicking on all cylinders, from the front office to behind the bench to on the bench, and of course on the ice.
Well, it's been just phenomenal. Year 2. I'm afraid that we're going to have spoiled hockey fans here, Nick, because usually it takes a lot longer than this. But cannot wait to get down there. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate your time, and have a great weekend, okay?
My pleasure, Spence. Appreciate you having me on. You keep up the awesome work as well. And as I said at the outset of our interview, Utah, you better buckle up, because there is nothing better in sports than the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so I hope everybody enjoys it. Get out to the Delta Center if you can still find tickets. And if you can't, that's okay. Get together with some friends. Go out to a local establishment and cheer this team on. So thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
There he is, Nick Olachek. The Utah Mammoth are playoff bound, and the opponent is yet to be determined. It looks like it will be Edmonton, but there's still a good chance it could be Vegas or Anaheim. Bryson DeChambeau just triple bogeyed 18, and he will not make the cut. Man, golf is a brutal game. IFA Step 1 Crabgrass Preventer and Lawn Food gives your turf a strong start for months of thick emerald grass that will leave your neighbors green with envy. Provides a fast green up and helps your grass build up the energy it needs. And, of course, it defends against weeds. Check them out online at ifa.coop or stop by one of their neighborhood stores today. We're going to talk some Masters golf coming up with Paul Pugmire after a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on ESPN 700. No one has gone back-to-back at Augusta since Tiger did it a number of years ago, and that might change this weekend. Rory McIlroy faced a challenging up and down for par on 17, and he just went ahead and holed his chip. So he's 11 under, headed to the last. He's 5 clear of Patrick Reed, who is in second, along with Sam Burns. Paul Pugmire, what are the chances that somebody catches Rory? We're seeing greatness right in front of our eyes, are we?
Spencer, I'm watching the Masters. Why are you calling me?
Yeah, no, I don't know why you answered the phone. That's a you problem, Paul. You're a human with full autonomous ability, Paul.
It is, and you ask a good question. Look, we have always known that Rory McIlroy is a generational player, that he is one for the ages. He gets in his own way. Historically, he has a way of swinging tight when things get tight. But he has worked through that. And the thing that I have absolutely noticed in his first 2 rounds is that he is swinging freely. And when Rory McIlroy swings freely, when he plays freely, he is one of the great players of the age, no question. And that's what he's showing us now. He has already won 2 majors by 8-shot margins, could be well on his way to a third.
He just piped his drive on 18, by the way, just right down the middle. So, I'll try not to make the whole thing about Rory, but he hasn't played competitive golf in a month. And up until last year, Rory McIlroy at Augusta was most known for epic meltdowns like in 2011, right? I mean, has he figured out the course? Is he more comfortable, on this stage? What do you think? What would you attribute the turnaround to most?
What a great question. I think he's figured out himself. He has lots of high finishes. He has lots of great rounds over the years. He has a highlight reel of incredible shots, all at Augusta National, all in the Masters. He wasn't able to put it all together for 4 days and get over the hump until last year, as we all know. I think it was all about his inner doubts, his inner struggles, but he clearly figured it out. And we see him, like I say, playing with freedom now as a result.
I don't know this. My guess is you know this. Have we ever had a wire-to-wire Masters winner all 4 rounds?
Yeah, we have. It's been a long time since it's happened, and now I can't remember exactly who it was. It's a long time ago, and it's very, very hard. The Augusta National Golf Club is simply not a golf course that lets somebody run away from the field. Now, Tiger did it in '97, but even at that, he shot 70 on the first day, and he was not leading after the first day. But it's really hard to keep everything going right for 4 days at a place like Augusta. It just doesn't ever happen.
We might know prior to you getting off the phone what he does on 18. Let's just assume it's a par. With that drive, he's going to have a birdie look, would be my guess. Let's assume it's a par, which puts him 5 clear of Patrick Reed and Sam Burns, 6 clear of Fleetwood and Justin Rose and Shane Lowry, who had a nice little ending to his day. Just look, there's still 2 rounds left. It's not like tomorrow's Sunday, so anything could happen. But a 5, we'll give him a 5-stroke lead heading into Saturday. Does that feel insurmountable, or do you still think one of these golfers can come give him a chase come Sunday?
Well, both answers can be true at the same time, and they both are. It is so hard to charge at Augusta, to make up ground at Augusta. Augusta just doesn't let you go out and get past everybody else on the day. It's incredibly difficult to make up ground on this golf course and in this event. That being said, cast our minds back to 1990, if I recall correctly, when Sir Nick Faldo came from 6 strokes back to catch a choking Greg Norman And so it has happened before, but a long time ago, right? This is an exceptionally difficult golf course to make up ground on. While Rory's on 18, I just want to talk about that hole for a minute. TV does not show how brutally difficult 18 is. First of all, it is severely uphill. You cannot come close to seeing the surface of the green from the fairway. You can only see the top third of the flag. The fairway bunkers are so deep you can't see out of them, and the driving chute is just so narrow, and it only accepts a cut shot to get into going deep into the hole on the fairway. It is a incredibly difficult golf hole. And then once you get up to the green is tiered, and if you're not on the right tier for where the pin is that day, good luck.
So when it comes to looking up at a guy that's 5 strokes clear of you, what sort of layer is added when the guy that's 5 strokes clear of you is Rory McIlroy?
Well, yeah, and great question, and it's a great thing to think through. Going back again to the Faldo Norman experience, at the time that happened, Norman was the number 1 player in the world, and Faldo was looking up at a dominant player who was by a good measure the best driver of the golf ball in the game at the time. And so what Faldo did in that circumstance was he said, I'm starting 6 down. I want to see if I can get within 3 on the front 9, because the back 9 at Augusta on Sunday is anything can happen. There are disasters waiting at every turn, and if I can get within 3, maybe I can be standing there when Augusta National kicks back at Greg. And that's exactly what happened. So that is the model, is to cut into the margin in the front 9, and then be standing there if something implodes. Now, it might not. It is, Rory is playing great, and it's so hard to make up ground on Augusta, like I've said. But that is the formula, is cut the margin and then let the back 9 do its work.
Patrick Reed has all the charm of a blowfish. Nonetheless, he obviously can play golf. He's won here before. What do you make of him as the potential challenger? What about his game seems to fit this golf course?
Oh my gosh, he is superb at controlling the flight of the driver. He is superb at shaping the flight of the driver, and that's vitally important at Augusta because of slope on the fairways. And then he has absolutely, year in, year out, one of the best short games on the planet. Watching Patrick Reed chip and hit pitch shots is sublime. Augusta National demands that of you, and it won't let you go home smiling without playing a great short game. Patrick Reed simply has one of the best short games in the world, and that's what makes Augusta fit for him, combined with his ability to shape the driver.
Read today that Justin Rose played his 76th round at Augusta, and for the first time in his career, birdied 9, 10, and 11. Again, we're all going to be looking up at McIlroy, but this dude just does not age, and in fact, maybe getting better with it. What stands out most about what he did today?
He is remarkable. You're so right. He doesn't age, and there is a reason for that. His swing is really simple. It has very few moving parts. There's not a lot going on in there, which means that there are not things to break down and change as your body changes as it ages. It also means that it is the kind of swing that can be maintained over the years. So Justin Rose has that for him. But he is he's a remarkable tactician. He plays within his game really well, and he has a terrific record on this course. He's done everything but win, and he's done it more than once. He has been second place 3 times. He's lost in playoffs twice. He's my sentimental favorite by miles. I would just be so thrilled to see Justin Rose get a green jacket. He's going to be 6 shots back going into Sunday. That is a big lift. plus there's a whole bunch of great, clearly established champions right around him. So it's going to be a hard thing for him to make this up and pull it out come tomorrow, or over the weekend, I mean to say. But he is my sentimental favorite.
Rory just stuck his iron about 4.5, 5 feet away. So there's an excellent chance that we're going to see a 6-shot lead heading into Saturday. I know it's only one shot, but as the father said once upon a time in Meet the Parents, it's a big shot. So,
It's a big shot.
you know, this thing could come down to 1 or 2. How big would a birdie on 18 be for Rory?
So big. First of all, it puts you equal to the margin that Greg Norman had going into Sunday back in 1990. But look at what it would do on his card. Look at what the circles starting on 12. So starting on 12, birdie, birdie, par on 14, birdie, 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 and if you birdies 18, another birdie. That includes birdies on both the par 3s, and the par 3s on the backside, 12 and 16. Both on their own are among the great par 3s in the world. You put them together on the same side on a major championship venue. The par 3s on the back at Augusta are just incredible. He birdied them both. And just closing out with all those circles is like a giant Chuck Norris kick to the rest of the golfing world, saying, yeah, don't even think about it.
Goodness gracious! So we'll see if he's able to convert this birdie putt. He's walking up to 18 now. Were you mad at Bob McIntyre when he flipped off the green yesterday after his 80?
I'm mad. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm going, oh, for crying out loud, Bobby Mack, you're better than that. And in that moment, he wasn't. I'm really sad about it.
Do you think they're going to do anything, or is that ship sailed?
There is a legend, I guess. Nobody really knows unless you're in the room, that the people at Augusta National find a way to have private, confidential conversations about what's expected, and I would imagine that would find him.
So I learned something interesting today. I was watching some of the coverage this morning, and Jason Day hit an iron into a false front. It was about to roll back, and one of the commentators said he better run up there and mark his ball, and then said, but you're not allowed to run at Augusta. Is this true? You're not allowed to. So if you're a patron going to your spot, you have to speed walk.
Even speed walking, you know, you're pushing the limits. But Augusta is just completely unconcerned, and they don't hesitate. If somebody is breaking the rules, they will remove you from the course. My goodness, it happened earlier this week to a former major champion, a British Open champion, Mark Calcavecchia, who had finished second in his career at Augusta. He was using a cell phone out on the golf course, and they asked him to leave.
Banning people from running, I know I'm asking the wrong guy this, but banning people from running seems a little silly, Paul. I mean, come on, calm down, golf.
You know, that's a reasonable take, Spencer. It is Augusta National, and part of what makes Augusta National so special is the totality of all the things they do. So I'm willing to accept some of the little ones that are slightly annoying or puzzling or bothersome, because the totality of it is just glorious.
All right. You know, you come to the table and you brag about an iron you made with a 3D, printer or whatever. So, yeah. you know, I'm not a fan. All right. And I know a lot of the younger people love him because he's got a YouTube channel. He does cool YouTube stuff, and he hires Kevin Hart as a caddy for attention because it's a thirst trap. I am not upset that we're not going to see Bryson over the weekend, but that triple bogey on 18, oh man, I mean, that was a tough scene.
It was, and you know, I was watching when he did the interview about 3D printing an iron, and Bryson loves that stuff, man. He loves living in it, but I'm watching it and I'm thinking, read the room, dude. Nobody cares right now. We're at Augusta National. We're playing the Masters. Let's talk about that. And I think he just totally missed the mark. But Look, the reality is, as we talked about a moment ago, with what Augusta National demands of the short game, the great short game players throughout history crowd the ball, get their hands down close to the ball. They get as close to the ball in every measure as they can, and it's very finger oriented. It's very feel oriented, and those are the great short game players. I'm including Patrick Reed in that list, but it's people like Lee Trevino, Severino Ballesteros. It is the great short game players. Tiger Woods. They crowd the ball and they get close to it, and Bryson DeChambeau uses these one-length irons, which means for what are normally the shorter clubs, he's got a 6-iron shaft on a wedge, and he is standing far away from it. And hey, he's a 2-time U.S. Open champion, and I am not. But I don't see how you get to a short game that will meet the demands of Augusta National unless you can get your hands close to the ball, and he will not do that.
Rory McIlroy, birdie 18, 12 under par, nice little 65, Paul.
Look at that scorecard. Look at those circles.
Ridiculous.
That is so cool.
Unbelievable. Yeah, didn't Bryson a few years ago say he views Augusta as a par 67 or something?
Yes, he did. And to his credit, he has since said that he's come to regret that. It was stupid.
Does he have any friends on tour? Like my assessment of people like Bryson is that they don't have anyone in their life to grab them by the shirt collar and say, "Shut up, stop it." Does he have any friends on tour that can get in his ear?
Yeah, he does. And what's interesting, I have had the good fortune of spending a short time with him, a few moments, about a half an hour. And his caddy, Greg Bodine, is a good friend. And Bryson is engaging and interesting. And the time I spent with him personally, he was such a complete pleasure to talk with. But he does chase these rabbits down their holes, and he won't let go. I don't know how to get him to, like I say, read the room. He doesn't seem able or willing to do that.
How about a little love for Ben Griffin? It's his first Masters, right? 3 under for the day, 69. So he's 3 under for the tournament. Again, Rory just birdied. So, hopefully people keep watching over the weekend. Maybe I'm going to make a tee time on Sunday. I was going to watch the thing. But what do you make of what Ben Griffin has been able to do his first Masters tournament?
No big surprise. He's a 3-time winner last year. He's got a well-rounded game. To see him playing well, to see him in the top 20 going into the weekend, totally makes sense. Another guy in a similar circumstance, Chris Gotterup. He's won twice already this year on the PGA Tour. He's got a ton of game. He's also at -3, and so he's at T13 there with Griffin. Neither of those surprise me. But it's so hard for a first-time player to win at Augusta, just so hard. It requires so much knowledge and experience. But they're getting that knowledge and experience. And don't be surprised in future years to see either one of those players making a lot of noise at Augusta National.
The 3 golfers that have won back-to-back Masters are Jack, Nick Faldo, and someone named Eldrick Tiger Woods. So Rory McIlroy about to enter rarefied air. Since I brought his name up, Paul, just give me a thought on Tiger before we find out what's going on with your show tomorrow.
Sure. I appreciate you asking. I think Tiger deserves and earns and needs our support and our absolute love right now. And here's where I'm coming from on this. For decades, he has given himself, yes, to his accomplishment, but also to our entertainment. And throughout all of the injuries that are, whether they come from a car accident, whether they come from golf, from playing the game, whatever they are, through all the injuries, our first response always has been, when can we see you play again? And I get that. I've done that many times. I want to see Tiger play. But look, Spencer, don't all of us, and I do mean all of us, have family or friends who have faced addiction?
Of course.
And of course. It makes total sense. Tiger isn't saying this. These are my words. But it makes total sense that with all the surgeries, all the injuries, all of the trauma that that his body has experienced over all the years, that he's come out at this point with an opioid addiction. That's what it looks like to me. I want us all to be giving him our absolute support and cheering for him to deal with this. I want Tiger healthy and well for him and his family. And if there's no more golf ever, okay. If there is, okay. I want Tiger to get through this and to get well.
Yeah, well said. I mean, the one common denominator with all addictions is you're covering up pain. And with opioid addiction, oftentimes you're covering up physical pain, but more often than not, you're covering up something deeper than that. So let's hope he figures out what that is for him, you know?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy, what's coming up on the show tomorrow?
One of the premier amateur tournaments on the Utah golf schedule is taking place this weekend at Glenmore. We will be at Glenmore for the Glenmore Am. There's a wonderful trend line through the Glenmore Am year after year after year. The winner always says, and the winner's the guy who beats everybody, right? The winner always says, man, I felt like I could have, should have played better and scored better. Well, Glenmore's hard. So Glenmore Am this week, we will be at Glenmore. Good stuff, buddy. By the way, played my first round with my new clubs last week. You didn't tell me that new clubs still mean you hit some bad shots here. They're mad at you. Yeah, well, you know, they still the whole thing, you got to swing them. But how'd you like them? Love them. Well, I just love them. It was so fun. Cannot wait to get out. Yeah. I'm going to play tomorrow up at Bee Ridge. Nice. So cool, so cool. Have fun. Make birdies, man. There you go. Paul Pugmire, Utah Golf Radio, 3 hours down, 1 hour to go. 5 o'clock hours next, right here. All right, final segment of the show on this Friday afternoon. So final segment of the show for the week. Happy Friday. Hope you have something fun planned for the weekend. It's going to cool down a little bit, but it looks like it'll be all right to maybe get outside a little bit, do a little golf, a little hiking, ride your bike.
some of these ski resorts are still open. Maybe you go shred the gnar, as we like to say on this show. Rory McIlroy looks like he's on his way to a back-to-back Masters win after carding a 65 today. Man, was he impressive. So we'll see if anybody can chase him down over the next couple of days. It is the Super Bowl of tanking tonight. Reminder, if the Memphis Grizzlies win this basketball game, they will have 7% of their chances taken away to get a top 4 pick. The Jazz could lose 10% of their chance to get a top 4 pick. Memphis is sitting 12 players. The Jazz are sitting 8. I have no idea who is going to play. How do you think this is going to play out tonight? These two coaches have a lot of pressure on them to lose the game they're playing in.
It's going to be interesting because, as you mentioned, the incentive is there, and it's not like it's a game in February where, yeah, that may be the direction you're going, but you're not, the result isn't so close, so you don't have to be so, you don't want to say transparent about it because then you might get in trouble with the league. But what you're going to see today is, a couple of coaches that don't have anywhere near their rationing of roster. So they're going to be in a odd spot. It's just the scope we look at the NBA right now. I think the Jazz probably get the L. That's what we're
so weird that we covered a league
for.
this way.
But yeah, they know the task at hand. They know the stakes, which are truly high when you look at that investment that is a lottery pick. You got to keep it in the top 4. You got to protect it. That's where we're at.
Can I give a quick PSA before we break for the weekend?
Sure.
The great stand-up comic Louis C.K. once upon a time said, "Divorce is always good news." When you hear your friend say, "I'm getting divorced," don't go, "Oh," because no great couple in the history of the world has gotten a divorce. That doesn't happen. If it's great, you don't get divorced. Divorce is never bad news. Do you want to know why I'm bringing this up?
Yeah, I do.
It's okay to get divorced, okay? So we discussed briefly, you're familiar with the Corey Richins situation because that took place kind of where you grew up, right?
Yes.
So Corey Richins, a mother of 3, was convicted of the murder of her husband, and she had written a book about grief after he died. It's the weirdest thing. Well, text messages have surfaced of a woman in Midvale discussing with her boyfriend a plan to give her husband Tylenol PM so he could go to sleep, and therefore they would go ahead and do away with him. It's okay to get divorced. Why are we jumping to these incredible... you're ruining your life. You're going to jail for the rest of your life. Let's just embrace divorce instead of offing our partners.
Yeah.
That's my PSA of the day today.
And this couple left that guy's body up in Camas, too, like up in that area, same area where the Corey Richins thing happened.
Jeez.
I don't know what's in the water or whatnot, but yeah, okay to get divorced if that is the alternative. I think I can co-sign on that.
Good. Yeah, you'll be okay.
Not the marriage expert, but
neither am I. I'm the divorce expert. You'll be okay. You'll get through it. Life does go on. So weird. Anyway, there's your PSA of the day today. If you're considering offering your partner, go ahead and just file for divorce. That's how I'm going to end the show.
That's a better option.
Going to go to the Jazz game tonight. Fascinated to see this battle of teams trying to lose. Porter, what comes our way on a Monday show?
On a Monday, Jordan Bloxham reacts to the Masters and the championship that, barring any rain delays, will be wrapped up by Monday. Tom Haberstroh for our NBA Daily Assist, and then we'll go all over the map with our friend Amy Donaldson in studio to wrap it up.
There we go. That'll be some good stuff. I owe Amy a big thank you for a number of reasons. Right now, only her and I know why. But join us for a Monday show. We'll say goodnight. Special thank you to Howard Beck, Chris Camerati, Nick Olacek, and Paul Pugmire. For the sound you missed, go to the website, ESPN700sports.com. Download our mobile app and take us on the go. And then I'm kindly asking you to support 2 projects of mine right now. This one, The Drive with Spence Checketts, available wherever you get your podcasts. And then my new podcast in conjunction with Sinclair Broadcasting and KUTV called Reality Check with Spence Checketts. Episode 1, Morgan Scally. Episode 2, Pablo Mastroeni. Next week, Alex Jensen. The week after that, Ryan Smith. He's Porter. I'm Spence saying it. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. We'll talk to you on Monday right here on your home of the Utes, ESPN 700.